the end of the day now, and I want to do the same thing now as I wanted to this morning, and that's go to bed. I'm exhausted. I've been exhausted all day. Every step was an act of willpower because I didn't have the energy. It was hot. There's not much water to drink, and I almost stepped on 2 rattlesnakes. I'm on a dirt road, so I'm not as worried about it while I record because I can see the ground. It was rough, man. It took a lot of concentration to get as far as I did, and I didn't even get that far. I'm whipped. Wasn't fun, but it's not supposed to be fun. It's an athletic event, not a carnival. It's a journey. Traveling's hard, especially when you're doing it on your own 2 feet. If it was easy, nobody would do it. But it's hard, so I have to do it. Everyone else has more sense than to be walking on a day that's as hot as today was. I guess I got no sense. Well, I stayed right here last night on the floor, and I cooked up some food for myself in the kitchen there and charged my electronics on that table over there. And now it's like 6:15. I'm getting ready to roll out.
It was getting to be late when 2 ladies stopped on the road and told me that the church in Havila, Washington left its door open for hikers, that I could go in there and help myself to a place to stay and use their stove if I wanted to. That's how I ended up getting into that building. I also made the somewhat regrettable choice to take this extra mile-long side trip to see the fire tower on top of Mount Bonaparte. Now, I had to climb Mount Bonaparte anyways, but this was just a little bit higher to see the tower. I ended up regretting it because this day went really late, and I was just thinking about this side trip and how much time I could have saved if I hadn't have taken it. I slapped a horsefly on my backpack and found out he wasn't dead but only disabled, so I picked him up by the wing and got an ant's attention so that the 2 of them could fight it out. I watched the fight for a while, but lost interest and started heading down the mountain. There was a lot more shade than yesterday, a lot more water sources, and my body just felt better. I think it was from sleeping under a roof, or I'm not sure what it was. I was just able to move a lot faster. At the bottom of Mount Bonaparte was Lake Bonaparte. I wanted to go swimming in it, but there was an RV campground and lots of people, and I decided I didn't really have the time because I had to make up for yesterday's mileage that I missed out on. So I just kept it moving. I did collect some water on my way out, though. I filled up the 2-liter bladder and filtered it on the go. The valleys are beautiful with the grass and the trees, but I don't trust the water because there's cows everywhere, and they don't have much discretion in where they leave their droppings. A lot of this section isn't a trail through the woods, but on roads connecting mountain to mountain through the valleys. I haven't really minded the road walks. The roads that they're on are usually quiet, lightly traveled, and I can pick up the pace a little bit. And today I needed to because I was making up for the lost mileage from yesterday's slowdown. If I don't make up for the lost miles, I'll run out of food. The road walk ended and took me back into the mountains where I walked well past the dark. I'm grateful to have had the energy to complete such a long day, but it is really starting to take a toll on my body.
I don't know if it's the way I got my pack riding or just the way I'm walking, but my neck is extremely stiff. It hurts to move it at all. Like, instead of looking down, this is about as far down as I can go without it being uncomfortable. It hurts to cough. And yeah, this is about it. If I go any further, I'm in a lot of pain. Days are starting to take a toll on my body, but hopefully it'll make me stronger. It'll at least make my neck muscles stronger. And it's just a growing pain, and it's not an injury. But we will see in a couple days.
Well, this lady just stopped and gave me a can of bubbly.
Well, now I'm done with the bubbly, and I guess I have to poop, so I'm gonna hit up this decommissioned badger hole or marmot hole or whatever it is, and I've already got my dirt piled up there, so I don't have to dig. There's pretty much 2 ways you can read a food package. The first is to look at the front, which shows you the colors and the flavor of it and what it will taste like. And the back tells you its substance, the ingredients, the nutrition, what it's really made of. And that's the same way that you can look at traveling like this. You know, a journey like this, the cover tells you the scenery and the colors that I'll see and these beautiful mountains and rivers. And that's the flavor of the journey. But when you turn it over, the real substance, the real ingredients and nutrition of this journey is the daily practice of making miles. That's all it comes down to. Just the substance of this trip is forward, diligent progress and the simple satisfaction of a job well done. That's it. So whether I'm walking on 2-track dirt roads with cows taking a dump right in front of me, or on the peaks of mountains with the sun dropping behind it and the wind carrying all the bugs away, the substance is the exact same.
Lots of blowdowns when I finally did get off of that 2-track road following the cows. It was just climbing over and over all these blown down trees. It could have been a lot worse. I found my way through them easy enough and ended up making good mileage for the day as well, in spite of the blowdowns. It started out like a normal day, tripping over myself, climbing over blowdowns, thinking about random stuff like how Christmas melon is a better name for watermelon. And then I got down to the road and saw a dead snake. Obviously, I had to poke it to make sure it was dead because these things scare the hell out of me. Then I went down the road and found something that scares the hell out of me even more. A lion. Her cub was on the downhill side of the road. I didn't get my camera out in time. And then she came down from the uphill side of the road. And this is when I got her. She saw me right here. Now, the part of me that loves taking pictures and videos of cool stuff loved this moment. But also it's a predator, so I was also slightly pooing my pants. She took off as soon as she saw me, and I kept my eye on the spot where I last saw her, walking backwards so I wouldn't get jumped. That's the thing about lions. Usually by the time you see them, you're already on the menu. Now, I'm calling it a lion because it's a mountain lion, but the locals call them cougars too. I don't really know the difference. As soon as I got on the Indian reservation, I went from lions to rattlesnakes. This one was living.
I need a gun.
That's usually one of the first questions people ask when I tell them about what I do. Oh, do you carry a gun? And I've never been so tempted to actually carry one as I was today. I had some stomach acid come up from the rattlesnake, and yeah, it was pretty nasty, so I had to brush that out immediately and then keep walking. You can tell by my slow and collected movements how calm I am. Not. I walked until my shadow got long and then kept walking beyond that because I needed to get water before I camped. This was at least some nice trail walking instead of the road that I started the day on. On the road, it's easier to see all the hazards like the snakes and the lions and the bears when they present themselves. In the woods, you almost step on that stuff before it pops out at you.
So that's what I'm bushwhacking to, that mess. And I just fell off of this log and my hand went into that thing when it broke. And now it's bleeding from the fall. But I'm trying to just sit here long enough to get my breath, but the mosquitoes are starting to crowd me out while my hand bleeds. So I'm going to try and find a place to camp because I'm just not going to make it to the road tonight. I'm going to run out of food and I'll just have a hungry walk into town tomorrow. I don't know. I thought I could make it, but it's been pretty difficult.
So this is a bag of mashed potatoes that I've added olive oil and water to. If you think that's nasty, then you're not hungry enough because I think it tastes great. But I feel like people who complain about the flavor of food are missing that essential ingredient of hunger. Because once you're hungry enough, all the food tastes great. And this
to me tastes great. Besides, my day is over, so I may not have much to eat in the morning, but I feel good now.
Sometimes the best part of a day is that it's temporary and that it's guaranteed to end. No more rattlesnakes, lions, fresh holes in my hand, mosquitoes, and hunger to keep me up.
Good morning. I'm not in town yet. I'm hungry. And that is one of the things I tend to overpack is food, because you pack your fears. And my relationship with food has kind of always been, since I was a child, like a fear of being without it and a fear of being hungry and skinny and starving, which my parents had plenty of food for us, so I don't know where the fear came from. But even when I was a kid, I remember having a hole in the drywall at the back of my closet, and I filled it with bread, just in case. And I try to overcome that fear. I've gone days and days without eating on fasts religiously, but intentionally, to not be so afraid of being hungry. Yeah, I'm hungry again now, and my pants are starting to slide down my hips like they were before the last town, and like my stomach's starting to make sounds, and I don't really have anything to eat, but when I get to town, there's gonna be food there. I caught a hitchhike with a guy out here driving around in the West, and he took me into town where a lady very kindly agreed to let me use her shower and some loaner clothes while mine are in the washer. So I'm gonna head down to the grocery store while my clothes are getting washed up and resupply on food for the next couple days, and head right back out.
Oh yeah, there was food, and after a day of not eating, I was so eager to get to it. I ended up putting 18 eggs together for an omelet, toasted 4 tortillas to put a layer between them and the plate, and then frying up an entire pound of bacon. I had 3 cups of coffee to round everything out and drank 2 liters of water with a vitamin C supplement just to get back up on my vitamins and stuff. Basically to keep discipline at the store so I wouldn't over-purchase food on the next time just because I went while I was starving hungry. What I did was I just calculated out 5,000 calories per day, 3 days of walking, so it's 15,000 calories total. And then I just bought exactly 15,000 calories worth of food so that I wouldn't go crazy and buy half the store. It was a pretty good way to do it. Plus, I shopped in a hand basket instead of a push cart so that I knew I wasn't getting anything that was too heavy because I could feel the weight as I was shopping.
Every time I cook bacon, this isn't my house. I shouldn't be setting off the smoke alarm. A fella named Joe just gave me a ride back to the trail with kind of a little bit of intel on the forest ahead, because he worked for the Forest Service for years and years, and those people were pretty nice to let me into their house without being there. She just texted me the lay of the land where everything was, and I was able to do my thing, burn my bacon and cook my eggs and come back out here on the same day, which is nice. I'm gonna try and make a couple miles, maybe 5, before I knock off for the night.
It was really hot that day. I was glad that I passed the hottest of it inside, eating my food, getting ready for the next leg of the trip, instead of out here sweating it out. Even though on this side of the state and in this time of year I'm really not expecting any rain, I still throw up the tent every night instead of cowboy camping. It's for the mosquitoes. They tend to be pretty bad in this area, so I don't really want to be slapping them all night long just to save myself the 3 minutes it takes to put up the tent. Basically, I just have to stake in the 4 corners, put in the first pole, roll up the door so that I don't get condensation buildup, and then put in the second pole, extend it just as far as the first one so that I keep a tight ridge line. And once the pole's in, I pretty much zip up that one side door, which I don't really use. And then I have a tent all set up and ready to go.
Hey, get up! Beat it! Beat it!
You'd run them off too if you saw how much they crapped on the trail. After I got out of the woods, I saw that the mountains were doing that thing where the trees let off that gas that turns them blue, and it looks like layers upon layers of blue mountains. Got so caught up in it, I forgot my pole.
Forgot my trekking pole when I left this spring. So that adds about 2 miles onto my day.
It was a nice day, and I really can't complain about any of the weather out here so far. It's cooperated for most of the trip. I just keep having these little setbacks, like forgetting my pole and then having random bouts of fatigue where I have to sit down and just rest on the side of the trail for almost an hour until I feel like I can stand up again and keep walking. I don't know. The weather's not really affecting that. I just all these little setbacks. They seem to be adding up. I took out my camera during one of those hour-long bouts of fatigue and recorded all the butterflies that were coming and going on these flowers.
It's hot, but it's been a scenic day. I got going a little earlier than I did the last couple of days, and I've just been plucking away at it. Had some nice views coming along the Kettle Crest, and now I'm getting to an area with more burned out forest and blowdowns, but very, very beautiful scenery behind me. And Pata, it's rough, there's not much water, but I'm making it all right. I'll get to stay done.
You can tell by how brown the landscape is that this area doesn't get a lot of rainfall. And sometimes the water that I can find looks pretty nasty, but I drink it anyway. It's better to just filter it and drink it than it is to go thirsty. This water in particular had all kinds of junk floating around in it, so I put my bug net over the mouth of my water bladder so that when I scooped water into it, the bug net would catch the majority of all the big, chunky, nasty stuff. And then, of course, the filter gets out all the tiny stuff that I can't see. By the time it gets to the bottle, it's drinkable. I carried 2 liters out of there and then did a lot of trail hurdles on the way to where I was going to camp that night. It doesn't look like much. I mean, in this video, there's only 3 or 4 trees to hop over. But then I rounded the corner and you can just see how many there really are. After these things die, their roots are pretty much gone, and it's really easy to knock them over. Although it slows down my forward progress, it makes this really striking apocalyptic contrast between the orange sunset, blue mountains, and these dead trees in front of it. Last night when I was filtering water, a bunch of it leaked out onto the floor, and I didn't know that there were holes in my electronics bag, but there were, and this one is cooked. I soaked it in rice overnight, but this power bank's no good. My keyboard still works, so I can still write. This was full of water, so it might be cooked. Same. This one still works, though, so I'll be able to charge my phone at least until I get to the next town.
Well, that's proof that someone else had a rough day here in the past. So obviously I'm going to wear this thing and see if I like it. Yeah. I'm starting to look like a customizable video game character. Nothing matches. It's like I'm the product of some 14-year-old's imagination, and starting to wonder if that's really the case. No trees, no shade, no trail, no water. There's what I'm dealing with. It's gonna be a long day. Okay, all told, between yesterday and today, it was just under 20 miles of blown down trees and burnt out forest without shade. And I mean, you saw the video, but I lost my electronics with the water filter incident last night and picked up this Korean tourism uniform hat, or whatever you call it, I don't know, and then just whacked through all those blown down trees and stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm glad that's over. I think it's over now. But imagine a point 20 miles from where you're sitting right now, and then draw a line to that, and then knock down every tree between here and there and try and walk there. That was pretty much what I was doing last night and today. I'm at the highway right now, 395, and I was gonna hitchhike that way into the town of Orient to order myself a new battery to replace the one that busted the other night, but there's not really any traffic coming this way, so I can't catch a hitch, and I gotta get moving. I gotta get to the next town. I don't want to be hiking in the dark. outside of a fire station where I'm liberating some electricity and testing out which electronics are cooked, and so far it's only the one battery block that I'll have to replace. I think I paid like $60 for it. They're not cheap. Maybe a little less, maybe like 50, but everything else seems to be in good working order, so could be worse.
He's hiding in the bushes, but you can see the tip of his snout. It's a black bear.
The fire is to the south of the road, and you can see all the smoke, but I can't see the fire. I checked the map for Stevens County, where I'm walking right now, and I'm far outside the evacuation zone, so I'm good. There's just a lot of smoke in the air. Well, I'm 10 miles closer to town than I was this morning. I'm halfway there, and I found this seat in this little kind of campsite. I pack out all my trash, I eat my peanut butter, and then I just shove it all the way in there, all the trash. So once the peanut butter's gone, this thing is packed tight with trash. The smoke from the Hope Fire was very pronounced as I came into the valley where Northport is established. I crossed the Columbia River here. This is the river that Lewis and Clark were looking to connect with the Missouri when they went out on their expedition to find the famed Northwest Passage that never really existed. There's no navigable water that goes over the Rockies. You have to connect it by land the way I'm doing it, except I'm going from the Columbia to the Missouri on foot, where I'll get in a canoe and connect it with the Gulf. I was coming into town, it was filling with the wildland firefighters here to put out the Hope Fire, or at least contain it. I met a hiker who's walking west, following the same route as me, and we got a frozen pizza from the convenience store. The firefighters continued to pour in, one pickup truck after another, with their company names written on the side, and the cabs full of men wearing the yellow clothes ubiquitous to wildland firefighters. I used my overnight stay in town to repair my trekking pole tip, which busted on a log in the Pasayten Wilderness, have dinner with our hosts, Jamie and Josh. I set up my tent in their backyard to camp there, unpacked my resupply box, showered, washed up my clothes, and of course, baked that pizza, and we split it in the shop.
What's going on?
You want pizza?
I'm good.
I'll take that slice. Thank you.
That's nice.
You want pizza?
No, I'm good.
The resupply box has enough for 4,200 calories per 25-mile day for the 6 days between here and Bonners Ferry, Idaho. This one also had toothpaste, a fresh pair of socks, and an isobutane fuel canister. We walked out of town right after breakfast at Jamie and Josh's. He went his way and I went mine. The road was long, hot, and empty, all the way from Northport to the trails up Abercrombie Mountain. I picked myself a full pot of something called Oregon grapes before I tasted one and realized they were nasty. Tipped it out and spilled them all over the road because I didn't want to eat anymore. This wasted about 10 minutes, but I learned a valuable lesson. Oregon grapes are neither grapes, nor are they exclusive to Oregon. I picked a handful of these berries and ate them instead. They taste all right. It was in the road that runs right next to Canada. There's the Columbia River. That's the border station to go into British Columbia, the province in Canada. And that land behind is Canada. So I'm all the way up there now, all the way in the north, right on the Canada border. The country I was walking through felt lonely, like it had seen better days, and it was full of poverty now. Everyone clung to junk in their yard because without it they'd have nothing. There was a spiritual poverty too, of people wanting to wall themselves off from the rest of the world. Every fence had a no trespassing sign on it. Every house a gate. Who knew that rust could be so valuable? There was only one house without a no trespassing sign that I saw the entire time, but the rest of them made it very clear they didn't want anyone ever coming onto their land. After 19.4 miles of no trespassing signs, I could finally rest beside a creek after I got off the road. There's a guy that just stopped to say hello in his Jeep, him and his wife, and they were carrying these two other hikers going through, and I asked them about like where their ranch is or whatever, and it's the only house that didn't have a no trespassing sign. I'm like, that figures that they would be the ones to stop and say hello. I walked late into the evening. The wind picked up as I got higher and higher on Mount Abercrombie. It's one of the tallest mountains in the area. It's not a very difficult climb, but I can feel that the trail's going to get tougher in the miles ahead. Dunking a dinner in olive oil enhances its calorie content, so I do that pretty liberally.
Also add hot water and then just let it sit for a couple minutes until it rehydrates. I had spaghetti, meat sauce, and croutons on top before putting my head back and passing out.
It's a big, you go way around 2 miles and then go back to that point. So I'm gonna try and cut a corner and just follow these power lines straight down. That was the most fun I'm gonna have all day, sliding down the old stick avalanche to save more than a mile on the walk. This is my last contact with Townsend, Washington, and I am so ready to be done with the first state. I've walked more than 800 miles here. I'm crossing the Penn D'Oreille River and grabbing a few things in Medellin Falls, charging up, editing this video and putting it out. But by the next time you hear from me, I will be out of the first state on my cross-country trip, and I could not be more happy.